I'm so proud to be here today in Berlin at this amazing GraphQL Conf. I'm going to introduce Dailymotion's brand new open source project called Tartiflette. We developed this project fully internally at Dailymotion with the ambition to contribute to both GraphQL and Python communities with a new GraphQL engine. But before going into Tartiflette details, let me introduce myself. My name is Stan, and I'm working at Dailymotion for 4 years now as an engineering manager. So, what is Tartiflette? I mean, beside the famous French meal that we all enjoy, Tartiflette is the result of 2 years' experience of running GraphQL API in production. We have made this project from scratch, knowing since day one that we wanted to make it open source someday. If you are into archaeology, I suggest you to explore our code base from January 2018. This engine was developed mainly for Python and for the version 3.6 and above. So let's start with a bit of history. We started developing our GraphQL API at Dailymotion for more than 3 years now, when revamping our product and moving to a 100% API-centric architecture. At the time, the GraphQL specification was not stable. It was really a bet for Dailymotion to choose GraphQL. We spent 10 months working on this new API, and we released it on June 2017. It was a great success for the team and also for Dailymotion, but a few weeks later, we noted some issues with Graphene, the engine that we chose. It started with performance issues, which we were able to mitigate by patching the engine, and the second difficulty we encountered was related to the management of our big schema. Graphene follows a code-first approach in which developers have to describe their whole schema with code. It was really difficult for this mindset for us to manage our schema when it keeps on growing. At this point, you can imagine how wordy it is as managing a schema keep on growing. By the end of 2017, we had the feeling of reaching the limit of Graphene. That's when we decided to revamp and to create our own GraphQL engine. The conception began in early of 2018, and the development started a few months later. After 1 year of work, we released the first version of Tartiflette internally at Dailymotion, and a few months later, we pushed it in production. So for now, if you are browsing our website, you can reach one of our servers behind Tartiflette. So at this point, you can legitimately ask me one question. Since we were already using Graphene, an open source library, why did we not contribute to it? Actually, there were multiple reasons why we decided to create our own GraphQL engine. The first was the lack of extensibility. It was really difficult for us to add new behavior or to extend existing functionalities. The second was the Graphene's code-first approach, which in our case was not viable when managing an API with thousands of types. And last but not least, for performance issues. Since Graphene was compatible with many stacks, both asynchronous and synchronous one, and with Python 2 and Python 3, these strengths turned into a weakness. To have such wide compatibility slowed down the execution of a query. For these three main reasons, we started to work on our own GraphQL engine. Please raise your hand if you already read or participated in debate about schema philosophy. Okay, so let's dig into this endless debate. So in the GraphQL community, there are two schema philosophies. Code first, the oldest one, consists on defining the schema through your code. In our case, through Python code. This is the Graphene's philosophy. On the left, the schema first, or SDL first, consists on defining a schema through a particular grammar, less verbose and technology agnostic. A lot of developers are debating on this topic, comparing both philosophies. But I think that there is no need to fight over these two approaches. It depends on your organization, on your habits, and the way you work. At Dailymotion, we think that the schema first philosophy suffers from the lack of extensibility of the engine that implements it. Most of the time, developers have to develop some piece of code to extend the schema functionalities. With Tartiflette, we wanted to create this flexibility that the schema-first engine is desperately missing. So, the schema-first approach has many benefits, such as improving the team collaboration, enjoying the feature brought by the SDL, and allowing a better API management. We all know that it's always not easy to foster the collaboration between the backend and the front-end developers, especially when you want to build an API interface. Most of the time, the interface is defined solely by the backend developers, and often is quite close to the database schema. With the SDL-first approach, the schema acts as a contract between both the front-end and the back-end teams, as well as with the product teams. This allows all of them to be aligned on the product API, on the API interface, and before starting any development. And thus also to agree to the interface API with a common language, which is not Python and not JavaScript or even Swift. The SDL has been introduced 2 years ago and recently added to the GraphQL specification. After examining it at Dailymotion, we thought that it must be the skeleton of our engine. And to finish, the last advantage of the schema first is the API management. At Dailymotion, we have many teams depending on the GraphQL API, like the user-oriented teams, the product, the partner-oriented teams, the data team, and so on. It's a full-time job to handle the evolution of the schema, ensure that all the fields are consistent, that the data are not duplicated, and also that the API is well used. For this, at Dailymotion, we have 4 people managing the API. Manipulating a schema is containing like several hundred types is okay with an SDL, compared to reading a ton, like 1,000 lines of Python. The last point concerns the possibility of being able to split on a side the API interface written with the SDL, and on the other side, its implementation. So, what is new about Tartiflette that could interest the GraphQL community? We took time to think about a simple internal API so that the developers can focus on writing their own business logic. One of the strongest choices we have made is to support only Python 3.6 and above, mostly because we wanted to take advantage of the feature of async.io. And concerning the parsing of the SDL, we decided to develop from zero a parser with the help of Lark. Concerning the parsing of the query, for multiple reasons, the first one for the performance issues, we decided to rely on the libGraphQL parser library developed in C++ by the Facebook team. And last but not least, we decided to base the extensibility of this project almost exclusively on the SDL, so that it's possible to simply use the SDL to extend your API. Here is a kind of hello world with Tartiflette. On the left, the description of the API built on top of the SDL. This example, so our GraphQL API, this example will expose a single receipt with 3 fields. On the right, you can see the Python code which implements the schema and the resolution of the recipe. The link between our schema and its implementation is represented by applying a decorator called resolver. This function will be called whenever a user requests a recipe. Like you can see, the real split between the schema on the left and its implementation on the right. Here is a complete Hello World code sample, split in 3 parts. The first part is the schema, so you can define all the things you want to expose through your API. In this example, it's a small string, but in real application, it could be a file or a list of files. The second part, we make the link between our schema and its implementation by applying the decorator resolver. And finally, we execute the query, and we get the result. It took us only 20 lines of code with Python and Tartiflette to create a simple GraphQL API. Let's go further than a simple hello world and see how to declare and use a directive. When you are developing an application, sometimes you want to refactor it. You want to refactor your code by simplifying it using some generic function. In the SDL world, a directive allows developers to factorize a common behavior on a field resolution. But a directive can be also applied at different locations of the SDL. Here, we declare our directive called hot, which is in charge of securing the field internal users. And then, this is the link between our schema and the implementation of the directive. We apply a decorator on our code called directive, and this piece of code will be called each time a user requests the internal user field. One of the most essential notions to understand with this project is the plugin approach. We designed Tartiflette so that the community can easily develop plugins based on top of the SDL. Why developing plugins? To share portion of your SDL across your different projects, to be able to share directives having common behavior, for example, like authorization, caching, tracing, or application monitoring, and also to be able to resolve a field by executing a serverless function on AWS, for instance. And another useful feature is to be able to generate an SDL at the building process. This feature is really interesting because we can imagine to implement the relay specification or even generate SDL based on our database schema. But, well, how to declare a plugin? We assume that the plugin will be distributed through the default Python packager PyP. So just type the regular command pip install and with the name of your plugin. And in this example, we will install a plugin which is in charge of the authorization. Then, during the instantiation of the engine, we will specify the module that we want to use. And if needed, if necessary, we can also describe the configuration for it. Nothing more. So you are telling me that fine, but how to use the plugin? We use the plugin everywhere happens in the SDL. So you can use the different object of the SDL brought by the plugin. In our example, the plugin provides a directive called auth, which is applied to the internal user and will be called each time a user requests this field. This part is the most important one of Tartiflette because everything developed by the community in the future will be available directly from the SDL. With this approach, it will be easy for you to build your API faster by capitalizing on your work or by taking advantage of the plugin developed by the community. And if we look closely at the SDL and how it brings out the directive, we can see different use cases of how to use the directive. So, as I said previously, a directive can be applied at different locations of the SDL and not only on the field resolution. So, for instance, we can apply a directive called resolve on AWS Lambda, which could be really useful to deport the execution of, to deport the resolution of a field. Or we can apply a rate limiting on a field, like by rate limit the creation of a user. And then we can also validate the input by, via a JSON schema. The possibilities are endless, and we rely on the help of the community to enlarge the list of the plugins. Our team, so what's next for Tartiflette? Our team is currently working on developing a new algorithm for the execution, allowing Tartiflette to be more compliant with the GraphQL specification. In parallel, we want to develop more plugins, mostly as examples, so that the community can be inspired to create their own. And of course, we want to invest time in our community by writing some tutorials, by organizing events, and also improving the documentation. OK, until now, I showed you how to use GraphQL without any transport layer. But we all know that GraphQL is mainly used through HTTP. For this reason, I want to feature you two projects which provide HTTP implementation. The first one is Tartiflette AO-HTTP, developed internally at Dailymotion, which is based on the famous library AO-HTTP. And the second one, developed by Florimond, an external contributor, called Tartiflette Starlet, which relies on the ASGE standard. We recommend you to use one of these two projects to be to start with Tartiflette or GraphQL. It will allow you to create easily and quickly a GraphQL API through HTTP. As you can imagine, the development of a project like Tartiflette requires a lot of time and energy, and I'm not alone in this adventure. So there is a team behind this project, and I wanted to take the opportunity to thank all of them. So thank you, Alice, Clément, Maximilien, and Aurélien. Before leaving you, here's some contact information. So you can visit our website, tartiflette.io, or follow us on Twitter. If you have more questions about this project, how it works, we will be there with the team. Thank you.